aspects, and for all the programs we have handled in the previous past, we have centered our discussion on the moral fabric of Islam. We have handled a number of aspects in this line, and today we will be continuing with this discussion, inshallah ta'ala. I'm your host, Menya Ayub Kibedi, to be taking you in this program, and together with me to discuss this program is my brother, my elder Al-Hajj Siraj Sinani Mbulambabu, who is the hospital administrator at Chibuli Muslim Hospital. I take the honor to invite you, say salam to our audience, and then we shall start later, inshallah.
Now, our dear viewers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you, Brother Sinan. As we said, this Thursday, we are taking on yet another edition, and it is a continuation of a previous program that we handled just a few days ago. It's to do with a relationship between faith and good morals. The background is there is always some kind of, some people have a confusion. Either these are two separate things. We can either have faith and, maybe the morals are a bit, kind of decayed, or these are intertwined and they cannot be, you cannot be disintegrated.
Yeah.
So we want to have a discussion on this topic,
yes,
and, broaden it so that we get a better understanding. Really, can we have these as separate aspects or they are intertwined? And for the previous discussion, we focused mainly on a hadith that was relating to whoever believes in Allah and the last day,
yes,
then should be person who entertains guests,
yeah,
should be a person who takes good care of the neighbors,
yeah,
and a third aspect. So today,
yes,
we want to continue focusing on this very aspect, but looking at other pillars in
yes,
Islam and in other kind of aspects that are in Islam.
yes.
How do they link with faith?
Yeah.
So we can start right out from there, beginning with the other 5 pillars of Islam.
Yeah.
How are they intertwined? How are they connected to faith?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر الأمر واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Yes, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala once again for the opportunity to come and share a few views in as far as our religion is concerned. Yes, it is true. I think it was a fortnight ago when we introduced this subject of the relationship between people's iman or faith with the good conduct or good morals, the way you may call it. And we exhaustively looked at that hadith of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which was connecting directly when the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam was saying, "Man kana yu'minu billahi wal yawmil akhir." Whoever has faith in Allah and the last day. And he mentioned 3 things. That is, number 1, they should say only that which is good. And if they don't have anything good to say, they should keep quiet. And we elaborated on that. Then the second thing is about that iman should force them to entertain guests. And that iman also should force them to behave well with the neighbors, to honor them, to treat them well. Now, elsewhere, you see that other than the Shahada, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explicitly mentions in the Quran about these other pillars. And, if Islam is a house, that's what Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Bunya al-Islam ala khams, that, Islam was built on 5 pillars, then he mentions them. But now with regard to morals, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, specifically with the salah, he says establish prayer. وَأَقِمِ الصَّلَاةِ إِنَّ الصَّلَاةَ تَنْهَى عَنِ الْفَحْشَاءِ وَالْمُنْكَرِ. And say establish prayer. Iqamati salah is actually something a little bit wider. It's much more than the physical rituals that we make. It begins way back when you're going to get your ablution. It also encompasses the psychological part, other than the physical rituals that we make by standing up, going on to ruku and then sujud, but also your mental focus should be with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when it says inna salat tanha anil fahsha'i wal munkar, that prayer, if you are praying genuinely for the sake of Allah and observing all the tenets of prayer, it should prevent you anil fahsha'i from, you know, fahsha means a shameful act.
Yeah.
Wal munkar, and the sins, the bad things.
Yeah.
So it means you see in here, not something shameful is like having a lewd speech. You are speaking obscenity. You are dressing in a way that does not give you respect, isn't it? Yeah. And munkar itself could be other sins. You know, you steal, you take what does not belong to you, you speak evil. You get what I'm trying to say. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is directly linking salah with good conduct. And those who pray are people of iman, are people of faith. And the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in the meaning of another hadith, in this meaning said, whenever you see a man constantly going to the mosque, okay, confirm that that person is indeed a believer. But the major aspect which takes us to the masjid, the primary one, is prayer. These others come on board. You have the nikah, you have the dars, you have, but primarily, that's why it is called masjid, meaning the place where they make sujood. You get what I'm trying to say. And nobody goes there except when he's a what? A believer. So your salah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is explicitly telling us that this salah prevents a person from committing evil and shameful acts.
I think maybe we need to expound more.
Yes.
To put a kind of a laser beam on the aspect of prevention.
Yes.
In practical terms,
yes,
what really prevents a person from going committing evil and avoiding, you know, valuga and everything?
Yes.
Is, I think, is the aspect that we need to bring out a bit more explicit.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Like I was telling you, you know, salah is not only physical gymnastics of standing, bowing, and so on, but your mental state, you are looking at the place where you're going to make sujood. You imagine Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in front of you. You are praising Him. When you say Allahu Akbar, Allah is the greatest. But this Allah you are saying is the greatest. Actually, that is the theme across prayer. That every step is almost that takbir. But Allah, meaning is the greatest, means there is nothing that is greater than Him. But He's the same one who has prohibited you from doing even shameful acts. So the connection is very significant. That, you know, if you really, you are meaning what you are saying in your prayer, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is indeed Akbar, then He's the one telling you that wala taqrabu zina. Don't move out of Salatul Isha when you have already imported illegal goods into your house. And you're going to spend an entire night disobeying Allah, whom you are saying is Akbar. You get what I'm trying to say? When you reach your ruku, you say Subhana Rabbiyal Azim. You know, glorified, you know, is you Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you exhausted, exalted, sorry. Now, this is the very Allah whom you are actually going to commit an evil against. Because it's like, in another sense, said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put for us boundaries. He says, Inna likulli malakin hima, wa inna hima Allahi maharimuhu. That verily every king has boundaries. And the boundaries that were set by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are the things He prohibited. So he prohibited evil and shameful acts. So your prayer in here, if it is genuine, it should make you that as you are about to commit this evil, you remember you have been talking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have been praising him as the greatest. You have been saying Subhana Rabbiyal A'la, glorified is your name, the most high. Saying Rabbiyal A'la, most high, when your head is at the lowest of the earth, putting your head on the what? On the ground. So it means if you really know what you are talking about in your salah, even trying to contemplate. For instance, if you say Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, all praises are due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, of all that exists. Then you say Maliki Yawmiddin. I've not gone according to chronology. That is the master of the day of what? Judgment. Now, this, if you really mean what you are saying, that is the master, this is the very master who has told you shouldn't steal, you shouldn't take what is not yours. You should join the kings of relationship. You should not be a fornicator or an adulterer. You get me? You should honor your parents. You should keep trusts. You should be truthful. So that's why he says genuine prayer in this particular case should be. And now, if your prayer does not prevent you from doing what Allah forbade, then what is the purpose of the prayer? Because according to this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is like somebody who prays, goes ahead and say, now I've been praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, trying to dedicate myself to him. Am I the one who is going again to do this? I have a little story. My uncle passed away, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on him. Yes, very, very funny but insightful story where you can learn something. He says when they were still young, one day in a village, they go to pray Maghrib with his friend. Then the friend of this uncle of mine, they were in their teens, tells him that after Maghrib, you'll escort me, I have an appointment with a girl somewhere in the neighborhood of the mosque. She will be coming over. Remember now, Maghrib time, after Maghrib, it is becoming dark. So it's like they finish Maghrib, they say their dua, they go to wait before they go back home. At home, probably we were thinking they're still at the what? At the masjid. So they wait, the girl never turned up. And the mosquitoes were doing justice to them. You get what I'm trying to say? Then finally, it was almost making the adhan for Isha. Then my uncle tells me, he was actually telling all of us, say all of a sudden his friend gave him a big slap on the shoulder. Say, it is you who caused all these problems. Say, which problems? I've come here, mosquitoes have been biting me on you for your sake. I've waited for you. I did not tell your girl not to come. Say, no. You are the one after Salatul Maghrib who made a dua and say, Rabbana la tuzigh qulubana. Oh, our Lord, do not take our hearts astray. Ba'da idh hadayta, and after you have what? Guided them. So it's like now, he said, even when we wait for whatever time, this girl never come. Of course, it is a funny, not so good a moral story, but for him, he was telling us, to show the genuinity of prayer and the genuinity of dhikr. Because he was telling him that dua, even his friend, he really had the yaqeen. That since they prayed that, oh Allah, do not take our hearts astray after you've guided them. You get what I'm trying to say? Yes. So Salah is supposed to be our guide. That's why even when you see somebody with the athar, with a sign that this person prays, in many countries they say the sign of sujood is a sign of piety. And a pious person is not expected to be found doing evil and shameful acts.
Yeah, but maybe, Brother Sinan, yes. One major lesson from at least what I've learned so far in this discussion is that I think it is high time we started understanding what we say in our prayers.
Yes.
Because well, I can say all this as either
as a ritual,
yes, and it is not impacting on me. Yes, it's not impacting on whoever is saying whatever is saying. Exactly. So meaning that once we translate this prayer from just being a ritual and we are living the prayer,
now
we say whatever we are saying, you
Yes.
say Maliki Yawmiddin,
Yes.
and you really understand the meaning.
And then you say,
and you
Ihdina
can-
Surat al-Mustaqim.
Yes.
What does that mean? Oh Allah, guide us to the straight path. Now, can you tell Allah, just a moment, you've just told him, guide us to the straight path. Then you move away, and by the way, Allah says, Balil insanu ala nafsihi basira. The soul will always know when it has done something wrong. So you go and do something wrong, yet you are the one who was asking for what? For guidance. You must help yourself as well. Hey, these days the youth say you must be there for yourself. Yes, exactly. Even in affairs of deen, you have really to stand up for yourself, for what you believe in. Yes.
Well, I think this is something we should take up. From what I see, we really need to understand what we say in our prayers. That's only when it will have to impact on us, and you know, progressively it can help us to change our ways of life. So that's what we see in the prayer. We of course we have more three pillars.
Yeah, actually, before we even go to the others, maybe as a take home, you know, when we are praying, we are remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he wants us, it is only dhikr that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts the aspect of kathira. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, idhkurullaha dhikran kathira. You know, remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala means observing the do's and don'ts. But when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was introducing himself to Nabiullah Musa alayhi salam, he told him, Innani ana Allahu la ilaha illa ana wa aqimi salata li dhikri. He was giving him the purpose of prayer. He says, me, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I'm the one who is supposed to be worshipped. None is supposed to be worshipped except who? Me. And then giving him instruction when he was giving him prophethood that wa aqimi salata li dhikri, establish prayer for my remembrance. Now, a person, you go to pray, you've gone to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the way Allah wanted it is that the way we behave when we're in prayer should ideally be the way we should behave outside prayer. Or at least near to that. Of course, given our weaknesses as humans, but at least it should be near to that. That prayer, minimum, as a take home, let us learn at least the meaning of Surah Al-Fatiha. And a few surahs that you are going to recite, such that you recite when you contemplate what you are reciting there. And also the adhkar in the prayer. Can you imagine when you can't even know what Subhana Rabbiyal Azim means, and you've been a Muslim for the last 20, 30 years? You're not doing justice to yourself, my brother, my sister. You don't know what Subhana Rabbiyal A'la means, and really prayer is yours, not for the neighbor. Your prayer is yours, is not for a friend or for a neighbor. And this is awwal ma yuhasabu yawm al-qiyamah. It's actually the one which is going to be asked about first. But this is the one supposed to prevent you from doing evil and shameful acts. I think the pitfall in there is that people take it as a ritual. They don't take time to contemplate about its meanings and its steps and the intention for it. So once we come as a take home, that we should learn what it means, and we start step by step. Maybe we may be there. At the end of the day, that prayer will start having a more impactful effect than what it has been having on our souls. Yes.
Well, progressing to a third pillar.
Yes. A third pillar, this is the pillar of zakah. Zakah is a pillar amongst the pillars of Islam, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, was telling the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, خُذْ مِنْ أَمْوَالِهِمْ صَدَقَةً تُطَهِّرُهُمْ وَتُزَكِّيهِمْ بِهَا. That get out of their wealth this compulsory alms, zakah, such that you may purify them with it. Now, zakah comes from, or the technical meaning the basic meaning could mean to purify.
Yeah.
Now, it does not only purify your wealth from that which does not belong to you, but zakah is a vehicle for social relations in the society. Because usually it is paid by those who have. to the have-nots. So it means you are trying to reduce the other gap that we talk about in economics, where you realize
the income disparity.
Exactly. Where you have the rich becoming richer and the poor becoming poorer. So when people pay zakah in a community, and this zakah goes out from those who have to the have-nots, it will create harmony. It will even be responsible for reduction of the crime rate in the community. Because some people genuinely steal because they want to have something to eat. Somebody will steal because of a human need, not in a child, because there are those who are habitual thieves. They even have, but they will continue to steal. It's like people who already have a lot, but they even want to grab what belongs, even those who have less than what they do have. But there are those basics. That's why they tell us in the Sirah that during the time of Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu, whenever hunger would strike for a very long period of time, people who would steal and they have stolen foodstuffs to feed their families and feed themselves, the punishment will not be as severe as it was a bit relaxed. Exactly, simply because somebody has a need. So when people, purifying our hearts, of course, taking away niggardliness from them, miserliness, being mean, you have a lot, you can't even finish it, but you can't share with others. But I'm looking at the social aspect, the problems it solves in the what? In the society. There will be harmony, you know. Now, by giving zakah, it is a declaration of faith, because it is not easy. Because even when you come just merely in sadaqah, somebody has 100,000. To get a person getting 10,000 out of the 100, really, it takes faith. Unless when the sheikh or whoever is asking for it has blackmailed you, because there are those who can blackmail you and should always fight against that.
We'll recite a threatening ayah.
Yes. Now, but then it takes faith. But then the other thing, how it is related to good morals, is that when zakah is paid, the would-be offenders become purified. They avoid that. We use them to give them small monies to start up business, such that they have what to feed their families on, to take their children to school. You harmonize society. You avoid or you reduce on the crime rate in the community, and you develop a sense of brotherhood, and that is good conduct. You see, this is an aspect of faith, but it translates into good conduct. Even when the poor who know that those are among the people who give zakah, from which we get our right, whenever they see any of your property under danger, they will be the first ones to fight. So we must protect this man, because his wealth is where we also feed. His wealth is where we also benefit. It's because of whatever he does in terms of zakah that we are who live with the dignity.
Thank you for that, that explanation. There is one of our community leaders. Yes. I think I may be forced to reserve his name, but one thing he does, yes, where he does his farming, yes, is that he has a social kind of security. Yes. Whenever he's harvesting, yes, he distributes a lot of fruits and the like to the neighborhoods, yes, and these people are taking charge of his farm. Yes. They cannot tamper with his farm. Exactly. So it is to do with behaving well, giving out charity and the like, and it is giving a lot of benefit to him in terms of social security around him. So we shall be taking a short commercial break, and when we return, we will continue with the discussion. Don't go away.
Eno ye Salam TV. Salamu TV wamu n'ebigendererwa byayo kati tusimbudde ne Salamu Juma Live awekyengera ku Masigidi Jamia. Jangu owulire ebigambo ebikuze engulu nga bwe tuteeka n'ettafaali ku nnyumba ya Allah, anti tweyama nti tuzimbire Allah ennyumba ku nsi agituzimbire mu jjana. Abantu b'ekyengera, Mugongo, Kinaawa, Buddo, Busega n'ebitundu ebyetooloddewo ffenna ku ssaawa 6 ez'omutuntu ku Juma eno nga tuli ku Masigidi Jamia Kyengera. Salamu TV ekusitulidde ngwaŋŋuli omulamwa mujje tuzimbe ennyumba ya Allah. Ejjuma ekulembeddwamu Sheikh Salimu Bosa ku Juma eno Ekyengera ku Masigidi Jamia. Salamu TV, olutimbiro lw'emirembe.
Hijabi Diaries presents the Link edition on the 9th of September at Hotel Africana. It's the ultimate halal experience where Muslim corporate powerhouses come together to ignite connections, unleash their potential, and soar to new heights. Brace yourselves for the electric panel discussions, jaw-dropping red carpet fashion showcases, awe-inspiring virtual tours of Mecca and Medina, the holy sites, and an art challenge to win lots of amazing goodies. Don't miss your chance to be a part of this epic event. Hurry and grab your individual tickets at only 100,000 shillings and a Mogul table of 8 at only 1 million shillings. For more information, please call 0756 792631. Join us as we celebrate faith, empowerment, and the unstoppable force of the Ummah. This event is proudly brought to you by
Explore, enjoy, and dance to the latest content, beats, and kawozi from Uganda and beyond. Simply go to your Play Store or App Store right now, find Afro Mobile, download it straight to your phone, and get started. Is it TV you want? Simply open the app, click on TV, select the channel you want, and watch live. Are you busy right now? Then check out On Demand or enjoy in your free time. Afro Mobile. The future is now.
It's the Premier League, all on DSTV. All the goals, clashes, and moments. All of Rashford, Salah, and Saka.
This start is getting better.
All in the language of your choice. All in HD. Available on all these bouquets to choose from. To watch on all these devices. Get DSTV with an HD decoder plus installation and 1 month family for 89,000 Ugandan shillings. It's the Premier League, all on DSTV.
Uganda, a nation pulsating with culture and creativity, arises an innovative initiative tailored for the modern day. Next Wowzy, a collaborative masterpiece of Uganda's largest media network, Next Media, and the best in-class influencer marketing platform. Wowzy, it's not just a platform, it's a movement, bridging ambitious brands with vibrant content creators and tapping into the reservoir of Uganda's youth creativity. Powered by proprietary technology, Next Wowzy promises best-in-class features, user-friendly navigation, enlightening analytics, all fostering genuine, long-lasting partnerships. But it's more than that. Next Wowzy is the much-anticipated catalyst reshaping digital marketing and triggering an economic upswing in the industry. Singing harmoniously with Uganda's flourishing culture tapestry, we offer a unique approach to leveraging this creative capital for brands. It's more than a solution, it's an opportunity. Addressing the demographic dividend by empowering our youth with new age skills and unparalleled opportunities. Next Wowzy isn't just a tool, it's the future, setting a new trajectory for digital marketing, economic growth, and creative fulfillment in Uganda. Next Wowzy, where Uganda's digital aspirations and cultural brilliance converge. Next Wowzy, connect, create, influence.
Eno ye Salam TV.
Welcome back, dear viewer. We are continuing with our program, and by the time we went into a commercial break, we were digesting the issue of how Zakah really is related to how morals can be improved in our communities. And so far we have seen the three pillars. So we shall proceed to a fourth pillar to do with Hajj, and we want to go deeper. How really deep, Hajj is, Saum, or rather Saum, how Saum is related to the aspect of faith, because once we see that there is a real relationship between faith and good morals, then it can help us, to better ourselves. So Al-Hajj Sinan, I think we can pick up from there.
We welcome you back, our dear viewers. We see that really, most of these things, Islam is a very beautiful religion, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose it for us to ensure that we take it as serious as possible to learn it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when it comes to Psalm, because we're looking at the relationship between faith and good morals, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Baqarah 183, says, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu kutiba alaykum as-siyam kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. Now, that verse starts with the aspect of Iman. And that's why it says, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, O you who have faith, O you who are believers, that fasting has been prescribed unto you as it was prescribed unto those who came before you. And the major purpose says, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, such that you may achieve God consciousness, such that you may achieve taqwa. You get what I'm trying to say? Yeah. But in this fasting, the Messenger ﷺ expounded, and in many ahadith, he talks about Sawm, and then it says, as-sawm junnah, that fasting is a shield. But what is this shield? Because when we fast, it's not only the food and drink, but also the other issues of desire. Even with a halal spouse, you're not supposed to have relations. But also the rest of our bodily parts, fast. Your eyes fast, your limbs fast, your ears fast. Eyes, they fast not to look at something which is prohibited. So by not looking in there, you are actually conducting yourself well. When your limbs do not go, for example, to fight, because even they say when somebody fights you or tries to fight you when you are fasting, tell him, inni swa'im, that me, I'm fasting. I'm not supposed to fight back with you. That is an issue of faith. And that's why even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he was talking about the characteristics of the servants of the most gracious Lord of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, الَّذِينَ يَمْشُونَ عَلَى الْأَرْضِ هَوْنًا, when they move on us, when they are humble, and it says, وَإِذَا خَاطَبَهُمْ الْجَاهِلُونَ قَالُوا سَلَامًا, when the ignorant try to attack them, try to provoke them, they respond with peace. They don't fight back. They don't fight back. They don't use all that kind of evil against them. So here we see that fasting itself, first of all, it is psychological, because you are having a devotion with your Creator. Number two, it prohibits you from doing anything evil, even sometimes things which are under normal circumstances allowed. And as far as Islam is concerned. For example, having relations with somebody's halal spouse, you are prohibited, but even with others. And in the beginning of another hadith, the Messenger ﷺ said, if anybody cannot leave the evil talk and those shameful acts, let them drink their drinks, let them eat their food, because fasting is not going to do what? Is not going to actually benefit them. Also, it's a common thing, not only here but across the globe, that it is during fasting that people rush to make it good. The masajid become full. Those who have been not even praying, they begin to pray. The people are very charitable. People are very what? Charitable. All those aspects of good conduct. People forgive each other. People join kinds of relationship. People do a lot of things. Actually, even there are some people that when their annual time for paying zakah comes, they prefer to do it during Ramadan. So the issue believes that these are maximized rewards during this month, maybe during fasting. Now, but then, whatever you do it, what the push factor is Iman. But the outcome is taken as an act of good conduct. So you see that the two are fused together when it comes to fasting. So it means really, if you find somebody fasting but doing even shameful things, doing prohibited aspects, in many cases they will even be telling them, look, you have broken your fast. And nobody wants their fast to be broken, by the way.
And we
yes.
always hear, that kind of talk that
yes.
Really, are you behaving as though you have not fasted?
Exactly.
And it provokes, especially when you hear it from the non-Muslims.
Yes.
And they are like, when fasting comes,
yes.
it is we really enjoy that time because, our brothers, the sisters, the Muslims,
yes,
they are really changed.
Yes.
And you really feel that they wish that it continues for the whole year because
exactly.
they really see somebody who is really 180 change.
Exactly.
So, I think this is what it indicates
that's the magic of Islam and the beauty of Islam. That you see, this is an aspect. Allah starts with calling upon the people with the iman. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. He calls specifically the believers. They believe in Allah, His angels, His books, up to the end of the pillars of what? Of iman. And it says, fasting has been prescribed unto you. Then that is some kind of a log, some kind of a big package. Then the Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam tries to unpack for us one by one the actions we are supposed to do, the actions we are supposed to avoid. And when we aggregate them, you will see that fasting translates into good character. That's why you are saying rightly that even the non-Muslim realize it. Although there's something really people who make research should help us with, where people make claims that, during Ramadan, even the bars that sell alcohol, somehow they are not making business. So I don't know what is the one to insinuate, whether it is because maybe Muslims are involved in business and the ones who power probably the economy which gives the others to go and drink, or even some Muslims could be tempted to go into those bars.
Yes, I think
but generally the conduct, even the community, the non-Muslim community appreciate. So it means the good conduct will be a product of faith, and therefore you see where there is a convergence between faith and good conduct. Yes.
I think the viewers, you can really see that Islam, all these aspects, because we look at Islam as a system of life. So being a system, it means there are so many things that are intertwined, and that being intertwined, it will help things to move in a chain. It's like when you have, say for example, back when we were studying the digestive system, I also forgot it joins to the water and until you go to the duodenum and until rectum, and so it is a system. So many things that are
interconnected.
Interconnected, and one supports the other. So if we are seeing that, by practicing fasting, by practicing a pillar in Islam, there is a direct connection between this pillar and many other aspects, and then we are bringing the aspect of good morals. It just tells you, it just confirms to you that Islam is a system, and if we adopt this system, if we live by this system, then we can be a better society, and the society will really prosper. Going to the other aspect, the fifth pillar, to do with the Hajj.
Yeah, I think like you say, you even wonder, because now that was 183 talking about the fasting. Now I think 197 when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was talking about Hajj. And then it says, Al-Hajj Ashhur Ma'lumat. And it says, فَمَنْ فَرَضَ فِيهِنَّ الْحَجِّ فَلَا رَفَثَ وَلَا فُسُوقَ وَلَا جِدَالَ فِي الْحَجِّ. Now, these are very touching statements. It's actually a statement made by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, very beautiful. And it says, Hajj has been made or is made in certain months. Usually they mention that the months of Hajj are 3. We talk about the 10th.
From Shawwal.
Yes, which is Shawwal, Dhul Qa'dah and Dhul Hajj, the first 10 days. Now, he said this is the period in which Hajj is performed. And he says, فَمَنْ فَرَضَ فِيهِنَّ الْحَجِّ. Now, whoever intends, or it has become obligatory for them to perform Hajj, and it says, فَلَا رَفَثَ. They should not even have sexual relations with their spouses. فَلَا رَفَثَ وَلَا فُسُوقَ. And they should not commit sins. Now, sins, in most of the cases, a sin is related to bad conduct.
Otherwise, it will not be called a sin.
Yes, most of the cases, either somebody is cheating, either somebody is committing zina, either somebody is being corrupt, either somebody is abusive, either somebody is unfair, either somebody is a liar. Now, these are evils, and that's what qualifies them to be what? Sins. When you do the opposite, those are good deeds. And this is what we interpret into kind of what? Good conduct. Now, it says whoever, because we go there in order to answer the call of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why the Hujjaj, when they go, they answer, say, Labbaik Allahumma labbaik. We have answered, our Lord. We have what? Answered your call. So, he says those who have gone for Hajj, they shouldn't even have that halal part. Fala rafatha, wala fusuq, even commit sins. To the extent that the humbleness they want you to exercise when you're on Hajj, you're not even supposed to hunt. When you hunt, you're supposed to pay a penalty. You get me? Then even, you know, arguing unnecessarily. Jidal, when you, whenever you have an argument, they said do not argue with anybody.
Unnecessary arguments.
Exactly. Which means, even whenever you see a person who is argumentative, in most cases, whenever you're argumentative, you lose the crown of being a person of good conduct. Say you are talking about so and so, you can't even have a civilized discussion with this person, simply because this person is very argumentative. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forbids us not to have even legal sexual relations during Hajj, forbids us from committing any types of what? Sins, wala fusuq. And then jidal, this is unnecessary what? Argument. Or it could even be translated to be fights, because in the English language you find people who are just exchanging words but say they are fighting. I think you've heard about such phrases. So it means that again, Hajj is a pillar of Islam, which we fulfill as a result of our faith. But then when we go in there, you know, we are encouraged to be good people. And that's why even when you come back, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us that, you know, Allah forgives you all the sins, and you are like the day when you were born by your mother. Now, coming back, that's why people are always, you know, disturbed when they see a Hajj committing sins. And that is very key. So you
they will say, it's as if he is
never went exactly for Hajj. So basically you see that clearly all the pillars right away from, of course we said with the exception of the Shahada in that particular part, but also the Shahada, what it negates. When you say, I testify that there is none worthy worship except who? Except who? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's like you are negating the worshipping of others other than the Creator. The Creator is one, the rest are what? A creation. That in itself, putting things where they belong, is an aspect of good conduct.
Yes.
Yes.
In that, just imagine whether you can, if I present a case like this, say for example, if you are my elder, say for example, you took me, it's just an analogy so that we can appreciate that even in this, if, say for example, I was in the village there, and you came and picked me, brought me maybe to Kampala, you have facilitated either my education, you have fed me, and all of that. And all of a sudden, you know, what happens, instead of being appreciative to you,
and grateful,
I become so, an inconvenience to you, either within your home.
Yes.
I can even, maybe I go in even for your wife, and because this is the shirk that Allah forbids.
Yes.
So can that be interpreted as good morals? So in the same way,
yes,
if we can, as humans, if we cannot tolerate this, then how there do you say,
think that
or
Allah
even think
yes,
that is good morals to Allah?
Exactly.
So it is just not think of.
Yep. So generally, answering our question for today, our dear viewers, is that we really need to look at some of these things in a little. Somebody were talking about putting a laser beam, that you look at them and then you try to contemplate that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not decree these things for us, except He wanted a society which is actually calm, a society of good conduct. When you go to Medina, up to today, you can't leave your luggage somewhere, however enticing it may be, and you fear for it being taken away from you. These are people of faith, and as a result, as a fruit of faith, you realize that they have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has, bestowed them with good conduct, and this is a good conduct which is actually making society a better place to live in. If we are conducting ourselves well, we are trustworthy, we are truthful, we treat each other well, we do not destroy the environment, we treat animals very well. All these are aspects coming from faith into good conduct. You heard about among the Banu Israel about the case of the man who entered Jannah for giving water to a dog. You get what I'm trying to say? Because he realized the dog was as thirsty as he was. And the lady who was said that she entered Jahannam despite her other deeds, simply because she was responsible for locking up a cat, never gave it food, and never allowed it to go out and fend for itself from Allah's provisions. Doesn't then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decreed that, this lady should enter Jahannam. All these are aspects of good conduct. But as Muslims, they emanate from faith.
There's also some other narration I've heard of a story of a lady who was, because somebody came and questioned from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Yes.
This person is doing ABCD, less of the good deeds, but is having good conduct. What is his abode? And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Jannah. Then the other person was doing a lot of good, but the neighbors, the people around him, people around her were having really, facing it rough to do with what passes through on her tongue. And when they asked the Prophet, what is her abode? He said, that one is in Jahannam. So it just tells you that it's not enough, to have the right akida without minding about how you relate with the other people. Because just like we said, we have the vertical kind of relationship, us and Allah, and the mu'amalat, the horizontal. Now, once you don't appreciate the issue of horizontal kind of relationship with other beings, then you are as good as we can't say anything, because it is not enough to be good to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when your relationship with other people is really bad. So I think you can just have your parting shots, inshallah.
To our dear viewers, just like you heard, it means it is indispensable for us not to be people of good character. Our Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even before he became a prophet, he was called the Sadiq al-Amin. Even when you come to issues of marriage, Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam tells you, if a person comes to you with deen and a good conduct, make sure you give him a wife. In most of the things, the hadith that we were talking about when we were still young, they would teach us ikmalul mu'minina imana ahsanuhum khulqa. The one whose iman is at the top and is full, so the best amongst them is the one with the best conduct. So let us actually translate our ibadat into the fruits of good behavior. Only when shall we be good representatives of the Dawah of Islam. Only then shall we be good to society. Only then shall we achieve that status which Allah gave us when He told us that we are khayra ummah. When He said, "Kuntum khayra ummah, ukhrijat lin-nas, ta'muruna bil ma'rufi wa tanhauna 'anil munkar." You are the best community brought for others to copy from you. The reasons why you Muslims are the best community is that you enjoy doing good and you forbid doing evil. And that constitutes your Islam is the faith. And your behavior, forbidding evil and encouraging good, is what we are calling as good behavior. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to be among those who have good character, who have good behavior, and to influence others to make sure that the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes ahead. Barakallahu fikum wa jazakumullahu khair.
Barakallahu fikum, Brother Sinan. As we wind up, I just wanted us to go with this message that whatever we have talked about, it should be having a starting point. Our good conduct that we are talking about, it should be having a starting point. And the starting point, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was asked who is the best amongst the people, and he said those that are best to their people.
No.
So meaning, if you're a husband, you should be, being counted as one of those that are best. You should be the best amongst your people. That means your wife, your children, and the people that your right hand possesses. If you are a wife, the same thing. If you are children, so where you live as the best unit in the family, if we are the people who are best to them, then that means we are people that can be counted as people who are having good morals. So just like the English say that charity begins at home, whenever we want to have the good morals that can be, be copied even within the society, the larger community, it has to start with being good at home. So I want to implore myself, I implore you, dear viewers, that we need to work upon ourselves and be people who are good to our families, the people that we live with, and perhaps if we do that, then it can be replicated to the larger community. I want to thank you so much for being an awful audience. Until then, we meet next time. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Eno ye Salam TV.